My fellow SADCers, what a week it's been. Boy, what we have seen. I mean, where do I begin? Should I begin with the Zimbabwe Football Association presidential hopeful, Prophet Walter Magaya, who is constructing a stadium in Kwekwe, a 10,000-seater? Or should I talk about the state of Zimbabwe's biggest sporting facility at the National Sports Stadium? Oh, what about the Zimbabwean president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, the constitutionalist, the man who just now rejected a third term? Or did he? Did he really? Did he? And speaking of didding, no, I'm not talking about that type of didding. I mean, this type of didding. Yes, the man that you're looking at right now did it. His name is Duma Boko. Aka Duma Mboko. This is the new president of Botswana, the man who just now ended the 58-year rule of the Botswana Democratic Party, the BDP, a party which had ruled Botswana since 1966. Yeah, Duma Boko did it. They really should call him Didmas. Now Zimbabweans are saying, if Botswana did it, we can did it too. But really, can we really did it too? What does the fall of Botswana's liberation movement mean to ZANU-PF, to Zimbabwe? Is this good news to the Zimbabwean opposition? In what way? Do we even still have an opposition in Zimbabwean politics? Can what happened in Botswana also happen in Zimbabwe? Well, fellow SADCers, slay queens and bingers, socialites, papalites, hasnamalites, varkujgarais, nevasnamarites. Welcome to the special report. Okay, so as we begin, it's very important for everyone to understand that Zimbabwe and Botswana are different. Now, before the just ended election, Botswana was one of the 7 mainland SADC countries ruled by former liberation movements. These are South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Namibia, Botswana, Tanzania, Angola. And of these 7 countries, only 5 of them attained their independence via an armed struggle. These are Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, Mozambique, and Angola. Botswana and Tanzania didn't win their independence via an armed struggle. Their independence was simply granted, so they had it easy. Interestingly, the liberation movements that have so far lost power since independence are the ones that did not come to power via an armed struggle. The first liberation movement to lose power in Southern Africa was Kenneth Kaunda's party in Zambia 1991, followed by Kamuzu Banda's party in Malawi 1994. And just like Botswana, Zambia and Malawi did not go to war to attain independence. Their independence was granted by Britain. That means the Botswana Democratic Party becomes the 3rd liberation movement in Southern Africa to lose power. And as I said before, the liberation movements that have so far lost power since independence are those that did not attain independence via an armed struggle. But the ones that took up arms to attain independence just don't lose power at all. These are ZANU-PF of Zimbabwe, Frelimo of Mozambique, SWAPO of Namibia, the MPLA of Angola, and the ANC of South Africa. Of course, ZANU-PF almost lost power in 2008 and ended up in a GNU, but it somehow retained power in 2013. And of course, the ANC almost lost power this year and is just now in a GNU, albeit under different circumstances, but the point is, it hasn't lost power. it's just sharing it. And of course, it's got a lion's share of that power. So there you have it. Zimbabwe and Botswana are different. Botswana belongs to a league of SADC countries that attained their independence without lifting a gun. Political parties in this league are prone to losing power. Zimbabwe, on the other hand, belongs to a league of SADC countries that attained their independence via an armed struggle. Political parties in this league don't lose power. It will be interesting to see how the Namibia election goes. Remember, Namibia will hold its elections end of November. And as I said, it will be interesting to see how that election goes because Namibia belongs to this league of ZANU-PF. The league of governments who feel entitled, who think they have a right to govern, a right to rule simply because they liberated their countries via an armed struggle. A league of governments run by political parties, fronted by old and tired but annoyingly power-hungry politicians who suffer from the deadly pandemic of entitlement. And this league actually meets regularly to share and compare notes on how to entrench their role. Their last meeting was in March of this year, hosted by Zimbabwe in the Victoria Falls. They discussed, amongst other things, elections to be held in their respective countries this year. This is why you saw the Zimbabwean president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, congratulating Frelimo for winning an election whose result had not yet been announced by the Mozambique Electoral Commission. For more on that issue, you can watch the video that I did last week. I covered that issue comprehensively, and my conclusion was that of all the former liberation movements that came to power via the gun, the ANC is the one that is most likely to lose power first because it fully embraced democracy. South Africa has strong institutions, and that makes it hard to win an election via dubious means. And by strong institutions, I mean a professional military, an unbiased state broadcaster, an independent judiciary, and a vibrant legislature. The same is largely true about Botswana, though President Masisi had his flaws. But can you say the same about Zimbabwe? Yes, the Botswana opposition had issues with the voters' roll, and they even took the Electoral Commission of Botswana to court about it. But by and large, did you see how efficient the Botswana Electoral Commission was on polling day? Did you see how smoothly the electoral process was run and how easy it was for Masisi to concede a defeat? No reports of violence and intimidation, no delimitation drama, no fuss, no reports of army generals saying that we won't salute someone who doesn't belong to the ruling party, no arrests of opposition leaders, of course with the exception of cases of political persecution, especially in the case of former President Ian Khama. But by and large, the system works. The democracy of Botswana was put to test and it passed. Can you say the same about Zimbabwe? Of course you can't. A country is run by ruling parties that waged an armed struggle to win independence. Don't change governments. Countries run by ruling parties that did not have to lift a gun to win independence. Change governments easily. But of course, changing governments doesn't guarantee economic prosperity. I mean, look at Malawi. It has changed governments many times since the fall of Kamuzu Banda, but it remains one of the poorest nations on earth by all economic indicators. On the upside, the fall of the Botswana Democratic Party means that ZANU-PF is slowly losing ground geopolitically. Little by little, the political tectonic plates are shifting in the SADC region. ZANU-PF will be hoping that Namibia's ruling party will win the forthcoming elections. Otherwise, a victory for the opposition might have far-reaching implications and consequences to the detriment of ZANU-PF. However, Zimbabweans shouldn't assume that any opposition party that wins elections in the region will automatically be different from these liberation movements. I mean, look at Lazarus Chakwera, the president of Malawi. He is actually worse than Mnangagwa by many counts. Zimbabwean opposition leaders celebrated when Chakwera won the elections, but what has Chakwera done for them? Nothing. So, don't quickly assume that Duma Boko will fight for the cause of Zimbabweans. After all, he is not the president of Zimbabwe. He is the president of Botswana. As Zimbabweans, we must learn to fix our own problems. Which then brings me to the ZANU-PF People's Conference and the succession saga in that party. Now, I'm sure we all know that the ZANU-PF National People's Conference passed a resolution to allow Mnangagwa to extend his term beyond 2030, and in response to that resolution, Mnangagwa through Chinamasa said, "Nah, I don't want it. I'm a constitutionalist." This came after the 10 provinces resoundingly called for a Mnangagwa third term. Now, I know some of you might say, what are they smoking? What are they thinking? What are they drinking? Are they crazy or what? Well, should I remind you that these are the same provinces that unanimously called for Mnangagwa's expulsion from the party in 2017, 8 days before the coup. Remember, Mnangagwa was expelled from ZANU-PF on the 9th of November. ZANU-PF unanimously expelled ED before the coup, and now they want him to be president for life? Well, see, I'm saying all this to show you that Muriko Niswa drama. I have said it countless times that ZANU-PF structures don't make decisions. I don't know how many times I should repeat it, but I'll say it one more time. ZANU-PF structures don't make decisions. They are simply told what to do and they do it. ZANU-PF structures are loyal to the highest bidder and sometimes the highest bidder. By that I simply mean that there are two things, only two things in ZANU-PF that control decision making and who gets what. Those two things are money and the gun, not popularity. If it was based on popularity, Mnangagwa would not be president. In fact, popularity in Zimbabwean politics is not enough to secure the state presidency. Ask Nelson Chamisa if you think I'm lying. Ask Morgan Tsvangirai if you think I'm lying. Ask the G40 faction if you think I'm lying. But anyway, right now we are not talking about the state presidency. We are talking about ZANU-PF politics. I was saying that ZANU-PF succession is not a popularity contest. This might confuse the unskilled because on the face of it, it seems as if Mnangagwa is very popular. It seems the whole of ZANU-PF wants him to go on beyond 2030, but if you're one of those who have been deceived, I hate to break it to you. Actually, no, I don't hate it. I love it. Yes, so I love to break it to you. All those people you saw chanting 2030 Mnangagwa, it's a charade, it's a sitcom, a drama, a movie, a Netflix series. No, a Zinflix series. How do you explain the fact that Joyce Mujuru had about 7 out of 10 provinces supporting her in the run-up to the 2014 Congress? But she was booted out at the instigation of the First Lady, Grace Mugabe. Why didn't all those provincial structures that supported her resist calls for her expulsion by the First Lady? Remember, at the time, ZANU-PF vice presidents were not by appointment. They were actually elected by provinces. So controlling 7 out of 10 provinces meant that you were very popular in the party, but that popularity did not save Joyce Teurairopa Mujuru. She got booted out like a nobody. In fact, she was actually booted out by a nobody because Grace Mugabe didn't have a position in ZANU-PF at the time. In fact, Opamchingura actually had to step down as leader of the Women's League to allow Grace Mugabe to take over at the 2014 Congress. Speaking of Grace Mugabe, almost all the provinces had actually endorsed her to take over as vice president of ZANU-PF to replace Mnangagwa, who had been expelled from the party on the 9th of November in 2017, before the coup. And that expulsion of Mnangagwa, by the way, was actually, well, it came as a unanimous resolution from all the provinces. A week later, on the 20th of November, the same structures expelled Grace Mugabe and readmitted Mnangagwa as president of ZANU-PF. 8 days before that, they had expelled him from the party, and 8 days after expelling him, they then appointed him president of their party. These are the same structures which are now saying Mnangagwa must go beyond 2030. Why are these structures always changing their mind? Do you think they change their mind of their own accord? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to show you that ZANU-PF structures are only loyal to the highest bidder or the highest bidder. Now, if you don't see the absurdity of this, then you are beyond redemption, or you stand to benefit something from this absurdity, in which case I understand you. After all, it is human to not bite the hand that feeds you. You are just a loyal eater. I see you, so keep eating. But you know what's funny? The people that actually benefit from this eating are the group leaders, not the ordinary people on the ground. The ordinary people on the ground, at best, they simply get empty promises of a great Zimbabwe under Munumutapa. And guess who is driving the 2030 Anenga Chipo campaign? It's Owen Mudangube and July Moyo, two of Mnangagwa's closest lieutenants. Yet Mnangagwa has done and said nothing to stop them from campaigning for his third term. Why hasn't Mnangagwa stopped July Moyo and Owen Mudangube from running with this 2030 Anenga Chipo campaign? Just one word from Mnangagwa, who put this nonsense to rest. Yet Mnangagwa has done nothing and claims to be a constitutionalist. Mnangagwa addressed the ZANU-PF People's Conference. Not even a single word from him to stop people from running with this 2030 Anenga Chipo campaign. As I said, just one word from that man who put this nonsense to rest. Yet he has done nothing and still claims to be a constitutionalist. Indicating right but turning left. You realize that he didn't say it with his own mouth, in that conference, that he doesn't want a third term. No, he sent Chinamasa to convey the message on his behalf. Why didn't Mnangagwa with his own mouth explicitly and publicly tell everyone in that conference that, ladies and gentlemen, I am not interested in a third term. Stop it forthwith. Why didn't he do it? Mnangagwa, the unassuming victim of the people's support. He wants to step down, but the people are forcing him to stay on. Now you will have no choice but to stay on because he is a listening president. After all, he has to listen to the people because the voice of the people is the voice of God. So, by staying on, he's listening to the people, and by listening to the people, he's listening to God. Damn, Mnangagwa, you're a genius. But then again, you are not a genius because this is a trick used by every long-term ruler. Every long-time ruler on the continent has used this trick. They are all victims of the people's support every single time. Well, whatever happens, I'll be here to marinate you with all the details without fear or favor, because on this platform, we say it as it is. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoy the content, please like and share.